school, is quietly starting to fall for the one person who fought back, Jandy. Jae-hoo, the gentle boy she first liked, is nursing his own broken heart over his first love, the model Seo Hyun, who is about to fly overseas to study. And Jandy, caught in the middle, still wants nothing to do with any of these rich boys. We open with her furious at Jae-hoo for stepping in on her behalf, demanding who he thinks he is to do her a favor she never asked for. He answers quietly that it wasn't a favor, it's just that she looked like she might die from sadness. Jandy tells him it has nothing to do with him and to get lost. Classic K-drama, the boy does the sweetest thing and gets yelled at for it. Meanwhile, the F4 gather at the airport to see Seo Hyun off. Junpyo, unusually thoughtful, asks the others a real question for once, whether hiding your feelings for the sake of the person you like is really the right thing to do. Young scoffs. Hiding everything just makes you a stranger to them, so how is that even love? Better to regret the things you did than the things you never dared to do. Seo Hyun says her goodbyes, gently reminds Jandy not to forget the favor she once promised, and with a warm smile boards her flight and leaves the country behind. The boys grumble that Jae-hoo is heartless for not even coming to say goodbye to the girl he loves. Right on cue, Jae-hoo strolls out from behind them. He's been sitting there for 3 hours, listening to every word. When they tell him to stop hiding and chase her, he reveals a boarding pass already in his hand, booked onto the very next plane after hers. He credits his sudden courage to one small person, gesturing at Jandy, thanking her for making him realize he needs to hold onto the woman he loves. With that, Jae-hoo heads off to chase Seo Hyun across the world, leaving Jandy stunned. One gentle rich boy down, one very stubborn one still to go. Because before she can even catch her breath, Junpyo grabs her and says he's only going to say this once. GM Jandy, you and I, and then the show cruelly cuts away before we hear the rest. Later we learn his big secret words. Saturday at 4 o'clock, in front of Namsan Tower. The great Gu Junpyo is asking her on a date, and in true Junpyo fashion he adds that if she's even 1 minute late, she's dead. Nothing says romance like a threat. Jandy never agrees to come, and back home she keeps hearing his words echo as snow starts to fall. She tells herself nobody would actually stand outside in the snow for 4 hours over a date she never accepted. That would be insane. And yet the thought gnaws at her until she suddenly shoves the shopping bags into her mother's arms and takes off running, unable to shake the feeling. Sure enough, she finds Junpyo standing there frozen half to death, snapping at her about what time she thinks it is. She fires back that she never said she'd come, and he quietly admits the truth. He thought there might just be a chance she'd show up, so he waited. Steam is literally rising off his frozen body. This arrogant heir sent away all his staff and stood in the cold like a statue, just for her. He buys her a $30 coffee, which she insists is a scam, and drags her up to a rooftop so she can drink it like a fancy sky lounge. They fall into a childish argument about whether the lights above are stars or satellites, which is basically how these two flirt. Then a phone call pulls Junpyo off to a pork restaurant to meet someone, but inside the lights are off, the door locks behind them, and neither of them owns a phone. Desperate for warmth, Junpyo decides a walk-in fridge is somehow the cozy option, so the two huddle together inside, shivering and bickering. When he leans in to finally confess his feelings, Jandy shoves him off as a pervert. But their squabble stops cold when she realizes he's burning up with a raging fever from his night in the snow. All her irritation melts into real worry, and she tenderly wraps his head warm, saying her mom always swore it helps.
다 데려다 줄게.
엄마한테 뭐라고 변명해야 될지 생각도 해봐야 돼. 걸어가다 버스 탈게.
By morning, they're finally freed, and Jandy goes home to kneel and beg her parents' forgiveness for staying out all night, confessing a truly deadly sin. But the moment they hear the boy was the Shinhwa heir, everything flips. Saving the air is spun as saving Korea's whole economy, so the deadly sin instantly becomes a blessing, and it only gets better when they discover he's already sent the family a mountain of expensive gifts. By the time she reaches school, the news has exploded. Every student is announcing that lowly commoner Jandy has somehow become Gu Junpyo's official girlfriend. Overnight, the students who tormented her are fawning, offering party invites and shopping trips, treating her like royalty over a rumor she never confirmed. But off to the side, one jealous girl watches with a cold stare, and we're warned she has bad intentions brewing. The other F4 boys corner Junpyo about whether the girlfriend rumor is real, and he panics, denying it over and over. Then Woobin slyly agrees that it's totally real anyway, and Junpyo keeps helplessly stammering no, 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 which of course fools absolutely nobody. Somewhere quieter, Jae-hoo has come to visit Jandy, softly playing music near her. It turns out he didn't fly off after all. Gently he asks if the rumor about her and Junpyo is true, and she firmly denies it, laughing off the idea that the boy who bullied her could ever like her. When he curiously reaches for her things, she panics, embarrassed, admitting she keeps a little secret notebook full of private thoughts she doesn't want anyone to read. Elsewhere, the F4 press Junpyo again, asking if he's truly sincere, reminding him that boys like them only get freedom in dating, since their parents always decide who they marry. Junpyo turns it around, mocking them for giving up so easily. A real man, he insists, takes responsibility to the very end. It's the first real sign he intends to fight for Jandy, family approval or not. Yeong and Woobin track down Ga-yul at the porridge shop where she works, delivering a message on behalf of the powerful people who want Jandy warned off Junpyo. He's a tree she can't climb, they say, so warn your friend before she gets thrown away like a toy. But Ga-yul refuses to back down, fiercely defending Jandy, snapping that her friend never wanted any of this royal drama and storming off. Then the real mystery of the episode deepens. Jandy wakes with only broken fragments of a night she can't remember, sensing with dread that something happened. A chilling clue surfaces, a message thanking her for last night, and she's horrified, screaming no way as the terrifying pieces refuse to fit together in her spinning mind. Suddenly, a group of students seizes her and drags her away, calling her the world's greatest disgrace, accusing her of shaming the F4 and dirtying the name of Shinhwa itself. They've decided to make a cruel public example of her. Junpyo storms in demanding who they think they are, momentarily her protector again, but then they shove a photograph at him and tell him to snap out of it.
뭐가 어떻게 잘못되면
몰라. 빠뜨린 것 같아.
이 정도였어?
The photo appears to show Jandy in a compromising situation, and Junpyo, wounded and jealous, coldly asks how a picture like this exists. She swears someone is framing her, but he asks just one thing. The girl in that picture, is it her or not? When Jandy refuses to plead her case, coldly saying his belief doesn't matter because she truly knows nothing, Junpyo says he doesn't know who she is anymore and walks away. His cold betrayal unleashes a brutal fresh wave of bullying. Broken and desperate, Jandy turns to the only people who might help, begging Yeong and Woobin to just tell her the truth about that night. To everyone's surprise, they actually step up to investigate. She remembers a memo scrawled in bold red lipstick, "Thanks for last night," and the lipstick is the key. It wasn't hers, so a hidden third person set her up and snapped the photo. The true culprit. Their hunt leads them to a club where they coolly demand the owner hand over his #1 host and casually threaten to shut his whole business down within a week, flexing the terrifying reach of the F4 name. Meanwhile, back at school, the cruelty escalates into a so-called tomato party, a sick public event held just to pelt Jandy with tomatoes. Even Ga-yul slips away, unable to bear watching, as the mob turns her friends' shaming into a splattering festival. Watching Junpyo mope over Jandy, the jealous girl behind the whole scheme urges him to snap out of it. And there it is, the ugly truth spills out. She orchestrated the entire frame-up herself out of raw jealousy because she believes Jandy stole Junpyo away from her. She demands to know why Jandy is good enough and she isn't.
아니야, 구준표. 이거 사 거야.
뭐가 어떻게 잘못되면
몰라. 누가
Junpyo can't stop replaying Jandy's words that the picture was a lie and someone framed her. Meanwhile, the F4 finally corner their man, beating the truth out of the club host until he confirms the whole thing was a setup. Then, in the biggest turn of the episode, Junpyo makes his choice in front of the entire school. He publicly declares that Jandy is officially his girlfriend, choosing to believe her over the cruel lie, and announces they've bought her a whole new set of everything, silencing every doubter in the crowd. But just as the tide finally turns in Jandy's favor, Jae-hoo steps forward and stuns everyone with 3 words. I oppose that. The room freezes as one best friend openly challenges the other, and suddenly both of them want the same girl. Episode 5 rewinds to the rescue itself. As a mob traps Jandy in a storeroom and hurls trash at her, Junpyo shoves the door open and shields her with his own body. Still shaking, she insists over and over that it wasn't her fault, and he simply cuts her off and tells her he already believes her, which for this insult-hurling boy basically counts as a love confession. Back at his mansion, he cleans her wounds himself, scolding her the whole time even as he bandages her. Then the story finally explains where all this cruelty began. Years ago, the F4 were spoiled little children at a fancy daycare, where a small girl named Min-jae had a crush on tiny Junpyo. When a bug landed on her and she panicked, the little boys turned cruel, and Junpyo sneered that she was far too ugly to be his bride, a moment that scarred her for life. Now, years later, a newly beautiful Min-jae has returned for revenge. She reveals she fled to Germany and endured painful surgery every 2 years, and demands they look at her now and say they like her. But Junpyo, who honestly doesn't even remember, can only apologize, which is the one thing she doesn't want. It's Jandy who steps in, quietly telling Min-jae how pathetic this revenge has become, because at least the little girl from back then had a heart and soul that were genuinely beautiful, something she seems to have lost.
이쪽도 봐봐.
The next morning, Junpyo's army of staff present Jandy with a brand new uniform and a replacement bicycle worth $18,000, since her cheap model was impossible to find. For breakfast, the chef serves Kobe beef in a truffle omelet, just an ordinary Tuesday in the absurd Shinhwa universe. Then Junpyo himself shows up at her tiny family home in the flesh, stares in confusion at a plate of dried anchovies, and proceeds to eat the fish completely wrong in front of everyone. Back at school, the gossip mill turns cruel on Min-jae's surgery, and Jandy plants herself in front of the whispering crowd to defend the very girl who once tormented her. If you can buy anything else with money, she demands, then why not beauty too, and why is it shameful only when a plain girl wants it? Nobody dares step forward. Moved, Min-jae quietly thanks her, admits she can't quite apologize, and finally walks away from the grudge that consumed her whole life. Now comes the bombshell. Junpyo gathers the entire school and formally announces in the mighty name of the F4 that from this day forward Jandy is officially his girlfriend, and nobody had better ever get fresh with her. The students cheer while Jandy frantically shouts no, 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 given zero say in her own sudden relationship.
그 결정에 이의 있는데요?
Then a voice cuts through the crowd. I oppose that. Everyone turns to see Yoon Jae-hoo has finally returned from Paris, stealing the whole spotlight. He can't quite explain it, only that something inside him has shifted, that his feelings feel different now. The other boys tease that he just came back a little hotter after drinking Paris water, but he insists that truly isn't it. Back home, Janda's family is in a frenzy of joy because Junpyo has flooded their tiny house with gifts, a dining table, a sofa, a big TV, and a whole kimchi refrigerator, though the fancy princess beds simply wouldn't fit through their front door. Jandy is horrified they accepted any of it and storms over to confront him, ripping into him for turning her house upside down without permission. He answers with total sincerity that as her boyfriend he naturally buys her clothes, cars, and furniture, and even wanted to buy her family a whole new house. Jandy fires back that you don't buy people with money, you earn them with your heart. Then quietly, Junpyo confesses something surprising. He's never actually had a girlfriend before her, not one. Caught off guard by the honesty, she softens and agrees to let it slide, as long as he learns to control that horrible temper. Jandy finds Jae-hoo back at his quiet garden, and he gently asks if she's really dating Junpyo now. Half teasing, he says he came home hoping to ask her out himself, and wonders aloud if he's a little too late. He laughs it off as a joke, then casually floats the genuinely dangerous idea of the two of them dating in secret, behind Junpyo's back, leaving her already tangled heart even more confused. Then Junpyo springs a surprise trip. Ga-yul is talked into a wild little scheme, bursting into the porridge shop pretending something awful has happened to Jandy, only for the truth to be far happier. Junpyo is whisking her away on a vacation, parents already asking, and even brought Ga-yul along so she won't feel awkward. They board a private jet with a 1-year waiting list and fly off to New Caledonia, a tropical paradise that turns out to be Shinhwa's own private island. On the island, a local fortune teller reads Janda's romantic future, excitedly repeating the word husband before delivering a strange twist. A soulmate turning into your husband is a wonderful bonus, she says, hinting that the soulmate and the future husband might actually be two completely different men. The reading darkly warns of losing something deeply important, exactly the kind of ominous prophecy this show loves to plant early and pay off many episodes later. Ga-yul, playing secret matchmaker, deliberately ditches Jandy so she'll be left alone with Junpyo. He leads her to a breathtaking surprise he arranged just for her, reminding her he can show her things she can't even imagine every single day. Then he pulls out a phone and calls her family directly, and they erupt with joy, gushing about the kind young master while Little Sin begs her to bring home 10 fresh crabs. When Jandy quietly cries, Junpyo softly promises to bring her whole family here next time, and it melts her heart.
감동 다 했으면 슬슬 본론으로 들어가야지.
본론?
Episode 5 closes on a colder, tenser thread back home. By the water, someone confronts another person, warning them fiercely never to throw away a certain meaningful gift like it's worthless trash, demanding to know if their feelings have finally been accepted. The answer is bitter. They are told flatly that there are no feelings at all and warned to remember this exact moment well, quietly setting up the emotional storm still to come. Episode 6 stays on the island, where Junpyo teases that for such a tough girl she gets touched by the smallest things. Then he suddenly starts peeling off his clothes, and Jandy screams threats that mean nothing to him. But he goes deadly serious and orders her not to move. There's a snake coiled under her feet, and we learn the mighty heir of Shinhwa is terrified of exactly one thing on this planet. He shrieks that he hates snakes most and sprints off, leaving his tough guy image in the dust. Cut back to Janda's family running their little laundry shop while she lives the high life. Her mother, in full delusional mode, asks a delivery man to help apply a face mask and coos over her precious baby skin, while the little brother complains the chicken shop wants their umbrella back. It's the kind of loud, loving, ridiculous poverty that somehow makes their cramped home feel like the happiest place on earth. Back on the island, the mood flips hard when Jandy goes for a swim and something goes wrong. Her friends call out for her to come back, but she keeps going, then suddenly stops moving and starts to sink. It's a leg cramp, and the swimmer who once saved everyone else is now the one drowning.
왜 그래?
잔디가 이상해요.
The boys drag her out and Junpyo is right there shouting her name, begging her to wake up and asking if she can hear him. It's a genuinely frightening moment, the confident swimmer limp and unconscious while the loudest boy on the island suddenly looks completely powerless. Now we finally learn why Junpyo panics near water, through a chilling flashback of a small boy screaming for his family to save him. He was kidnapped when he was only 8 and trusted to a trusted bodyguard who turned out to be the kidnapper. When police surrounded the car, it was driven straight into the water with little Junpyo still trapped inside. A wound that never healed. Back in the present, Junpyo lays out a whole spread of food, insisting it's for all his friends while very obviously watching one special someone. He grabs Jandy and orders her to eat everything, unable to believe a real swimmer nearly went under. In his own gruff, bossy way, he admits he can't stand seeing the people around him be weak, then tells her to stop talking and just eat, which is the closest he'll ever get to admitting she scared him half to death. Off to the side, a scheming little heiress eyes Jandy's plate and sneers that Junpyo doesn't like chubby girls. When Yi-young teases her about liking Junpyo herself, she lets slip a bombshell, insisting that Jandy already has someone else on her mind, another guy her heart belongs to. The boys quickly drag Yi-young off before this dangerous gossip can spread any further. That night, the trip rolls into a games night, and later Junpyo barges into what he thinks is his room, only to learn he's marched into hers by mistake, though of course he refuses to admit the great Gu Junpyo could ever be wrong. He fumbles, gets shy, and it's genuinely funny watching the loudest boy in Shinhwa lose all his words. He shoves a gift at her, calls it cheap stuff that suits her perfectly, then warns that if she loses it she's dead, and walks off having just handed her his heart wrapped in insults.
혼자 산책도 가지 마. 알았어?
The next day by the water, Junpyo hovers over Jandy, warning her something is hot and offering to share, clumsy but sweet. For a boy who barks orders at an entire empire, watching him nervously offer a girl a snack is the softest we've ever seen him. He casually asks where his gift is, and when she says it's safe in her room because she was afraid of losing it, he glows and tells her to hold it tight, then even tighter, meaning far more than a cheap trinket. But trouble stirs when the scheming heiress spots a bracelet Jandy dropped and pretends to like it. Junhee, not knowing whose it is, tells Junpyo the trinket doesn't suit the girl and to return it to its owner, never guessing whose heart it really belongs to. It's a small, quiet landmine, the kind this show loves to leave lying in the sand. Meanwhile, Yi-young takes Ga-yeol out fishing, and when he actually catches a fish he simply lets it go, unable to eat a creature living somewhere this beautiful. He circles back to the gossip that Jandy likes another guy, confidently declaring the mystery man must be a bad boy because he understands women. Ga-yeol snaps that he's wrong, that this person may be Jandy's true soulmate, and insists there really is such a thing as a love who stays with you your whole life, something a playboy like him could never understand. Back with the main couple, Junpyo takes Jandy to a lookout point, telling her there's something he wants her to see. He tells her to look down, and below them the island reveals a lagoon shaped like a perfect heart, glittering in the water. He confesses he once promised himself that when he found a girl he liked, he would bring her right here, and asks if she saw it, his heart laid out for her.
보이냐? 내 마음?
The romance is cut short by an emergency. Word spreads that Jae-hoo is in crisis over news about Seo Hyun, who is now tied to a man with a powerful political background, a strong candidate for the next election. Worse, Jae-hoo seemed to know even before returning from Paris, and now he has vanished for the whole afternoon. Jandy panics, confessing that what she once said out loud has come true, certain Jae-hoo must be furious with her. Junpyo strolls uninvited into Jandy's room, reminding her that since he owns the entire island, every door is his. Then he asks the only question that matters to him. His heart, the one he showed her on that lagoon, has she accepted it? He tells her not to make him wait too long and leaves, and for once the loud, rich boy sounds genuinely, quietly nervous. We cut to Jae-hoo, shattered, bitterly saying the other man understands Seo Hyun better than he ever could. Alone with his heartbreak, he begs her in his mind to just be happy, because if she suffers, he suffers too. And then, in a line that quietly rewrites everything, Jae-hoo wonders aloud why he never fell for a girl like Jandy instead, planting the seed of a triangle that will haunt everyone. Then the storm hits. Junpyo finds Jandy comforting Jae-hoo, completely misreads it, and his face goes dark. He accuses her of falling into a trap again, and though she desperately insists it's not what it looks like, he's too hurt to hear her. He says he wanted to believe her, he tried his hardest, and this is how she repays him. Then coldly he declares it's really over now, and when Jae-hoo tries to speak, he snaps that one more word and he'll kill him.
여기서 한마디만 더 하면
By morning, Junpyo has already snapped, taking the plane off the island at dawn without a word. Back home, Jandy returns to her family's ecstatic welcome, her parents already crowning themselves royalty, working out that if Jandy marries the king she becomes queen and they all become nobles. It's peak boys over flowers, a laundry family dreaming up a palace while the actual romance has quietly fallen apart. Then Jandy flatly kills the fantasy, announcing she and Gu Junpyo will never have any relationship, and begs them to wake up. Alone, Jandy finally looks at the little gift Junpyo gave her, remembering he called it something you give to the person you want to spend your whole life with, as if asking them never to run away. His warmest words come flooding back, telling her not to drink without him, admitting she was the first person he ever waited for, his voice on that heart lagoon asking, "Did you see my heart?" all layered over her whispered, aching apologies to the boy she just lost. Jae-hoo finds her afterward and gently tells her not to look so miserable, since she's always in some kind of emergency anyway. She apologizes for the island, but he says the one who should really apologize is him, since he was the one who hurt Junpyo. To cheer her up, he does a spot-on impression of a furious Junpyo, pulling a dark, stony face and joking that his hair would be extra curly, poking loving fun at that legendary perm.
죄송해요.
괜찮아.
But the reckoning arrives fast. Back at Shinhwa, Junpyo makes a cold announcement in the name of F4. First, that Yoon Jae-hoo is no longer part of the group, stunning the whole school. Then he drops the real blow. In 1 week, both Yoon Jae-hoo and GM Jandy will be expelled from Shinhwa High. The jealous clique pounces, gloating and piling all the blame on Jandy, but this time Jae-hoo refuses to take anyone's abuse, snapping that the ones who really need to wake up are them. For the first time, this gentle boy sounds ready to go to war, telling Jandy that being thrown out of F4 is exactly the reason he finally has to fight. She reminds him Junpyo's family literally owns the school, but he refuses to give up and she calls him silly, touched that he'd risk everything for her. Even his loyal friends push back. Woobin confronts Junpyo, saying this expulsion just isn't like him, and Yi-young argues that Jae-hoo is only wrecked over Seo Hyun and using Jandy to cope. But Junpyo hears only that Jae-hoo doesn't even like her sincerely, and warns that one more word and Yi-young is out of F4 too. Then Jae-hoo finally draws his line, telling Junpyo to let Jandy go and vowing that if he won't, then Jae-hoo will protect her himself. And as the chapter ends, Junpyo turns to Jandy with the one offer that could fix everything. It's not too late, he says. All he needs is a single word from her. Just tell him that she likes him, and he swears he will never once regret it. One word to save herself, save Jae-hoo, and end the war, and next time we find out whether she can bring herself to say it.